Neighbors.
You
Missouri.
can check them out. It's in the spray paint gauge.
It's a really good primer. It gives you really good coverage.
I have to look. I don't look at the auto paint.
So I'm going to do one more quick highlight. And this will be seriously fast. We're just going to add a little bit of my gray. So we're just going to add a little bit of my last gray color to some white. And we're just going to do some real extreme highlights. Really nice tight lines, and then just soften the edge. That's all I'm doing here. Just tight line. Whoa!
Just eat it.
Just eat that paint. That's right.
Oh, I will.
Nom, nom, nom.
And at the same time, I can kind of I can tighten that line up a little bit. I can like push the paint around because it's still so wet. I can actually just push it right up and get that nice tight line I wanted in the first place. I tell people all the time, painting miniatures is a fine art of correcting one's mistakes.
When I paint a canvas,
Rings true.
when I paint a canvas or do any type of drawing, I used to just draw with pens. Every time I made a mistake, I had to figure out how to make that mistake part of the drawing.
Yep.
So really, I can say like all the pieces of work that are like a full page. I'm like this.
That's
It's just one big mistake.
I meant to do that. The phrase
one
is,
big
I
mistake.
meant to do that.
So my mom's saying is my artwork is all one big mistake.
My older teacher always used to call it a happy accident.
Yeah.
You had to figure out how to make it into a happy accident.
Yep. Yeah, really.
Honestly, Bob Ross is my spirit animal.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He used to say that. Yeah, he did too.
Because,
A
man,
happy little tree.
No
happy
mistakes,
little-
just happy accidents.
Your happy mountains, yes.
Have you
Yeah, I
heard
remember
the PBS Happy Little
Remix?
Tree song?
Apparently I missed some.
and I'm just using the edge of my application brush now. I'm just kind of like slipping along the edge there. And then going through and blending that away. Just soften the edges, just softening the edges. See a channel of Bob Ross there. Softening the edges.
Happy little edges.
Right now.
If somebody would YouTube that song, that would be amazing.
I'm do like a round going.
Dallas has groupies.
I accept.
I think I can service your socks.
Yes.
Oh man, does it ever.
Hey, it's only $9.95 a day for their Wi-Fi. Though.
Nope.
Nope, not even once.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not even once.
Not even once.
I mean, why try if you have 3G and you just kind of pray and hope for
Yeah.
I'm just like, please, something.
Haha!
Oh my god, I'm taking it.
Really?
Well, that was entertainment.
Still just catching the edges where I want my highlights with the side of my
Is it
brush.
happy
Yes.
little clouds? Happy little clouds. You sure it's happy little clouds?
Yes. I listened to
This one?
Yes, yes, PBS Digital Studios.
Make it nice and soft.
This is hilarious. We have to tell Brad that we played this. No advertisements.
This is not unlike art classes used to be.
I'm trying to bring that back to you.
For some cats, this is
Oh yeah,
This is a
asked
song.
for chores.
I skipped it. Come on. It only gives you like 4 seconds. Five, whatever.
You have to deal with that
No, it's buffering. Curse you, buffering.
Still just catching the edges and just added a little bit more white for my sharp highlights. And just softening the edges. And I think that's a clip.
I like buffering more.
Pass, please.
Yes.
Well, they're passing it around. So with this technique, this stuff is really good for what's called glazing. Is anybody familiar with glazing?
Yes.
Glazing. It's awesome. So let's say I want this guy's little doodad there to be brown. So the highlights and shadows are already created for me. And this is and then I'm gonna make a glaze, and so I'm gonna go one drop of brown ink. 1, 2, 3, 6, 10, 12, 13, 14. That's really, really thin, right? So with glazing, this is a neat technique. So I already got the shadows and highlights created on this guy from the primer.
It's just primer right now.
This is
Okay.
pure primer. This is 100%
Directions.
You did
primer.
white and
Yeah.
you said you did the black and then the
Just
gray.
did the direction.
Black?
Yep.
Black all over.
Gray.
Like all the, you definitely want it up underneath.
Okay.
Gray from like a straight on, or maybe just a little bit up. It depends on the effect. The thing about rules of art, they're there to be broken. So this is like the baseline, like, and then after you get the baseline, then you start breaking the rules for the interesting stuff.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I usually do like a gray straight on, and then I go way up high for a pure white, and then there's a couple different titles that this technique is called. One is called juicing. If you've ever come across a website that talks about juicing, this is called juicing, which actually sounds like I should be weightlifting and taking illegal substances, or glazing. So I got a 15:1 ink ratio, and you can also make glazes out of regular paints. It's just
Higher ratio.
it's a higher ratio, and like seriously, this is about what you want. Real thin. So I'm going to get rid of most of that, and I'm just going to glaze right over the top of his little cloak here. This could honestly be a little bit thicker.
And that's how you're gonna change the color of the cloak?
Yep. And you don't want it to pull up. Absolutely nothing should pull up on a glaze. You're tinting the surface. This is 100% where this becomes important. No puddles, no puddles, no puddles. And the thing about, like I said, working with that wet paint, you can just lick it off and go in there and just barely touch it. If it pulls up, and your brush will just suck that puddle out. This is the part of the day where I test y'all's patience.
Hello, I'm Bob Ross, and I'd like to welcome
Give
you.
me joy.
First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your oil paints and paint along with us each week. Let's go up to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, I believe. Every day's a good day with paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. We start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. This is your world. You're the creator. Find freedom on this canvas. Believe that you can do it. Because you can do it. Give it a little touch. Give it a little push. Bring the world to the canvas. Touching canvas. Touch. Little push. Press it. Very gently. Love it. You can go on.
Add a little touch of blue. Change the colors a bit.
You've been painting over the same areas and drying it, so it's multiple layers of glaze. Okay.
Let's build a happy little cloud.
I'll forgive you.
Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. This is your world. You're the creator. This canvas.
Without the hair dryer.
Actually, I think I pulled out the art pad.
So you've attached your figs to those bases. Are they just stone and you're shooting like rubber cemented or something?
How's that? So,
It's done.
everybody asks that question. So this is seriously, I went to Westlakes or Lowe's, hardware store, and you can buy dowel rods. This
It's a
dowel
dowel,
rod
okay.
seriously costs,
It looks like stone because it's got the...
it's got the primer on it, yeah.
Yeah.
What, $2?
Yeah.
And I just took a saw and I just started hacking off a bunch of these. And then, I don't know if I
Wine
actually...
corks is another one.
Wine cork works really good if you drink a lot of wine. Raise your
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, well,
Real cork, not that plastic thing.
no wine.
I didn't bring it. So
That's not a cork.
3M
know.
two-sided tape.
Oh, two-sided tape?
Two-sided tape.
Oh.
All these guys are attached with two-sided tape. It's seriously
okay.
just a strip of two-sided tape, and it's pretty amazing. Like that chick right there. See how tiny her little feet are?
Uh-huh.
I put a piece of two-sided tape down, and those little tiny feet just stuck her on there. Counted to about 10, let go, and I put about 40 hours of painting in that model.
She never came.
She never came up.
Okay.
Except for at the very, very end, she got a little loose, and I just replaced the tape.
Yep.
You know, just popped her off, new piece of tape, stuck her back on. Done. Good enough. So two-sided tape, man, this stuff is wonderful. I paint almost every single miniature on two-sided tape. For gaming, and this is a gaming piece, this will be more of a display piece. So he's not on a base because I want to integrate the base, and it'll probably be something fancy and cool. She's for an army. Like, does anybody play war games? Yeah, I'm a war gamer, war machine. So you know, she's just on her base, and you know, for the gaming purposes. But it keeps my fingers off because your fingers are covered in oil. You're just covered in oil. And that's like another thing. I don't know how much in the basic they talk about. Every decision you make with your model, from the time you take it out of the pack to the time you put primer on it, affects how that model is going to look at in the end. I take every single model, even my Super Dungeon Explorer. I went to the bathroom, filled up the sink with hot soapy water, dumped them all in, took a toothbrush, and scrubbed them. I just scrub them. Rinse them off, let them set overnight, 24 hours. You don't want any water. If you try to prime it, it will totally ruin the primer. Let them dry for 24 hours, and then all the mold release and, you know, the packer's fingers, and who knows what happened to those miniatures between the time they came out of a mold and into a pack and then got to your hands. And then you got your hands all over them. I usually do that after I get rid of all the mold lines, of course,
Yeah.
you know, because your hands are all over it. You just scrub those mold lines away, and then give them a hot soapy bath, and then prime them, and your models automatically go up a level. You
Okay.
will automatically see a difference in your painting just by doing that.
What kind of soap?
Yeah.
Dish soap.
Okay.
Plain
Dawn,
old
okay.
Dawn, Ajax, palm olive, because it's I like
Degreaser.
Dawn because it's a degreaser. It's a super degreaser. Everybody knows Dawn is a and so you just get rid of all that mold release and all that goop that could be on the miniature and is on the miniature.
So do you prime like the bones the same way you would metal?
They poke you.
I've never
primer?
painted a
I
bone.
haven't painted
I'm
bones.
trying not
Okay.
to poke you with my pads, so.
They're becoming more popular, of course, because they're big Kickstarters and so.
They are becoming more popular. I have a weird.
You almost have to
sensing a
wash
hesitation.
those.
I'm gonna say things and it might not be popular sometimes. Because I'm Dallas and I'm a jerk. So I don't know how long you guys have been gaming, but I've been gaming since the late '80s. Okay, I'm an old person, and I know. Giggle. Been gaming since the late '80s, and throughout all of gaming history, we've been demanding better quality models. Suddenly, in 2013, a certain company decided that better quality models is not what gamers want. They want crappy models at a bulk discount, and we got boned.
Started before that. Started with the Wizards of the Coast and the Whiz Kids and all the pre-painted crap.
You're right, but that was a different kind of gaming.
That was at least pre-painted.
And they were pre-painted.
So
badly.
Your stuff right there, I paint like that sometimes,
Yeah.
and when I go to a game and put it on the table, and my friends go like this and pick them up with all the rest of the figures, and I'm like,
You have knuckles. You have
but
knuckles.
it's this.
Beat them down.
I put it down on the table, it gets scraped up, I don't care.
I totally agree. I do totally agree.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a balance there somewhere. I don't play WizKids Mouse because, you know what? I like it when Superman's eyes are in the right spots, not on his cheeks. Call me crazy, but I'm pretty sure I've never seen a person with eyeballs. I like painting my dudes. I like having well-painted dudes. Yes, in D&D, and that's what we're all here to do is play D&D. Sorry, it's D&D.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah, you have your little dudes, and you have a crap load of skeletons out on the table because you need 20 skeletons for your, 5th level fighter to beat up on giggles. Sure for that, but I think it sets a standard of lower quality, and I'm afraid of it. I would rather spend the $8, $10, $15 for a high quality, beautiful model that I can paint. Even my skeletons, like you should see my skeletons. When you come to my house and play Warhammer Quest, oh my God, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
That you use once a year or something like that, I go all the way out.
All the way out.
But the players never touch it.
They never touch it.
That I touch it, I move it around, I put it away when I'm done.
I agree.
Nobody else does.
It's more of a.
Yeah.
You train your group.
Well, no, well.
It
train
makes
your
it
group.
makes sense,
Don't
but at the
touch
same
that
time,
stuff.
I like high quality stuff.
Actually, I've had a couple of modelers come to me and say, please.
So this
paint
is seriously,
thing
this
for
is
me."
how many layers have I done on this guy?
I lost count.
Yeah.
50.
Not 50.
Well,
Oh,
10,
what's up, hyperbole?
5, 10,
I'd
About,
say at least 10.
and as you can see, what's happening, and we're going to add another color. We're going to add, what's a good color for that shadow? We want a little touch, I want a little touch of red. I want a little tiny touch of red. I'm just going to warm it up just a bit. Make sure that's dry. I'll warm that up just a touch. I don't even know what I was reaching for there. So that was about 10 layers. And now this isn't done, of course, but you can pass it around. You can see how that's starting to change the color of the model to get, and I didn't put any shadows or highlights in it. It's all the primer, and I'm tinting the entire surface, and you just start to get that. And then once you go in, if you go in there and do little tiny highlights and stuff like that, it looks gorgeous. It looks amazing. You can really get some neat effects. It's really good for like if you got big monsters. Like I love painting big monsters. That's like Running Man. I love painting big monsters. Rawr. And this is all done with basically a glazing technique. And what you can do is like you can start putting other colors on your skin. Because if you notice like skin color, skin is tricky because none of us have the exact same skin colors at all, whatsoever, zero. And what a lot of people forget is like